What is up, guys? This is Tcg Sam here, and today I'm coming at you guys with my extravaganza deck profile that I played last weekend. And I played Virtual Worlds. It's pretty much the main deck that I'm playing this format. I ended up going 5-2, so x2 after 7 rounds of Swiss. At the extravaganza ended up 11th place. I'm just going to be going over my matchups real quick. So round 1, I played up against Emancipators, and it was a really quick 2-0. Game 1, I won the roll. It was just kind of a blowout because I set up my regular board and he wasn't able to play through it. Game 2, like a single gamma just stopped his turn, and then I had a way to play after that, so like he wasn't able to do much. Similarly, in round 2, it was against Earth Machines. Same thing, game 1, I set up a board he couldn't break. Game 2, single hand trap stops his play, and then we're able to just go off from there. Round 3 is where it gets interesting. I played against Drytrons. Game 1, I went first again, so we're pretty good at rolling the dice, it seems. Set up a board of like Shenshen, Chuchi, stuff like that. He wasn't able to break it. Game 2, I actually stopped him with some hand traps, but I actually had no engine to play with. So like, I was just drawing like a bunch of like the spells, and I had no monsters to target it, so it was really bad for me. And eventually he drew out it first, and he won the game after there. Game 3, it was pretty close. I went first, but I had a huge blowout card in Different Dimension Ground. So not only did I take out his entire like graveyard, so no follow-up, even if he broke my board, like I still had to follow up in my hand with Lulu and Qinglong and Grave. So we took it down from there. Different Dimension Ground was a huge blowout, and it was really good card in my side deck. Round 4, I played against a Salad. It was a very good player too. Game 1, I actually broke his board with Juju, Fan, and using Tutu as a really good extender going second. So like I had a spell, I kept like targeting the spell with all my monsters, and like his single roar and imperm wasn't enough to stop me. So we were able to take it down from there. Tutu, like I said, really good extender. Just getting into the graveyard, sending it off like the first name, and discarding like the extra like Nyanyans in my hand. Not only got Nyanyan engraved, but also got like Tutu on the board, which is a really good extender. Round 5, game 2 of round 4, he actually doesn't open super well after I Ash his Silent Mining, but his Rivalry stops me for 1 turn, and he's able to draw a Salad monster and just go for Update Jam where Access Code kills me the next turn. Game 3, Different Dimension Ground clutches up again, and plus I had a Shenshen and Chuche on top of all that, so there's no way he's able to break it even after he outed the Shenshen with his Reclusia, so we take down that one as well. Round 5, we played against Prankids. Game 1, he had Ash and Bell for like my Lulu and Lala in hand, and I only had those 2 names plus a normal summon, so I just had to pass, and then he had his like full combo, so there's no way I could play out of that. Game 2, I just set up my board with Shenshen. It is just really good. There's not much you can do after that. Game 3, here's like I think where I've really made my first kind of big misplay. I actually gammaed his normal summon Roxy's effect, but it turns out he had like extenders like Instant Fusion, Poly, Pandemonium to play out of it. And like in my mind, I was thinking against Prankids, you should probably stop the very first thing they do with Gamma, because like Gamma was my only hand trap. I was thinking if I stop his normal, just hope he passes. But like in reality, I probably should have waited for the Bow Wow Bark on my turn, because if I get rid of Bow Wow Bark, like their regular combo from what I've seen Prankids, like even if they have all the like the extenders like Poly and Instant Fusion in their hand, like I feel like a lot of the time people won't like just overextend and put up like a big board for no reason, because like obviously you play into Nibiru if you just keep putting up like big boards like that. So I figured he could have just passed on a Bow Wow Bark, and I would have been able to gamma his Bow Wow Bark, and he wouldn't be able to add back his monsters, and then maybe I could have won, especially since I would have the 2 monsters on my board to play during my turn. But ultimately, he extends through the hand trap. Any Talents Rip looks at my hand eventually after he draws it off Desires. And then, yeah, we just lose from there. He takes out the only plays in our hand, and there's not much we can do about that. Round 6, I play against Zoo Tri-Brigade. Game 1, I misplayed really bad. So, it's actually an interesting story. I was spectating some other matches, and I happened to watch a pure Zoo player, and I was looking at his field. He had an Ego Booster in his grave, and like that kind of put the idea in my head that like, oh, if I see a Zodiac monster, I should probably pop it on the normal summon, because like he might have Ego Booster on his Borbro or whatever. If he put, and then his Zeus will be able to clear my board. So when I saw my opponent normal summon a Zoo, I popped it, but it was a really stupid idea, because my opponent just, one, he had the barrage, was kind of sacky, but like regardless, like I didn't have to play into the barrage. I could just let him make Borbo, and if he really does have like Ego Booster, then so be it, whatever. I just failed to consider that like only pure Zoo would be playing that, and this player was playing Tri Brigade Zoo. So now he made a Zeus, cleared my board, and then he activated Fractal, and then like from there I just lost because he just set up his regular Tri Brigade board in addition to the Zeus, and there's nothing I can do. Game 2, I bricked kind of hard. I had one name with Lao Lao. I had to Lao Lao target a GG or something. It was really awkward, and he had a bell for that. I set different dimension ground, which is enough to stop him for one turn. The next turn I draw into another Lao Lao, and then he has another bell for my Lao Lao, and Lao Lao's only once per turn, obviously, so I can't do it again. I have another different dimension ground, but in trying to play around like Twin Twisters, I set 1 instead of 2, and he had Cosmic to get rid of the different dimension ground. I got an Imperm in my hand as well. I was thinking, oh, if I set Imperm and DDG, I just lose out to Twin Twister harder, but of course he had Cosmic Cyclone, so I lost that, whereas DDG might have been able to buy me one more turn, but even if it did, it may not have mattered, because my opponent already had a Revolt, and I drew a third Lao Lao for like my final turn, so like it was just absolutely insane. I just wasn't able to do anything at all. So yeah, we lose that one 0-2. Round 7 is a little unfortunate for my opponent. He's playing Drytron. Game 1, he just activates Red Eyes Fusion and passes, and I have Gamma, Kowloon, and Lulu, and there's just not much he can do because he negates the Lulu and plays into Gamma, and Gamma just kind of destroys him. Game 2, this is a really unlucky game for him. So he goes first. Gamma has Alpha Tribute, which just happens to be like his only name. He decides to actually talents. He has talents, and he decides to talents my hand and shuffle something back instead of going into a copy. Going to draw 2 cards to continue playing, which I don't know if that was really correct, but I guess he saw that I had 3 cards in hand since I drew a driver. He wanted to like rip a card in my hand. He ripped out one of my names, so I was left with GG and Qinglong, which isn't combo. But for my turn, I draw another Gamma, which is kind of dead. So all I can do is I can either go GG, target Qinglong, send Lulu, add it back, and try to hope to survive the turn, or I can try to be proactive, dump 2-2. 2-2 summons itself out as a tuner, so I can go 2-2 GG into Shenshen. That's what I did, because I figured, oh, at least I have a Shenshen follow-up. Maybe the Shenshen won't be enough to stop him. It turns out that, like, we pass back and forth for at least 3 or 4 turns, because, like, we're both not drawing anything. I'm just swinging with Shenshen. Obviously not using the effect to put something back to banish, because, like, I figured in his hand he just had a bunch of, like, orange lights or something he couldn't use. And I was right, because, like, he ended up setting an orange light so he wouldn't die. But that turn I didn't draw a monster either, so it actually got to the point where he drew a Diviner, which helped him get out of his brick situation, because he sends Herald as a ritual, and he has Alpha in Graveyard. But I actually have Nib to stop him in his combo, and then that Nib's just enough, because he was already low enough to where after I tribute to Shenshen comes back, swings over the token, and then Nib swings for game. So that's just really unfortunate for him. He just didn't really draw that well, but it is what it is. So yeah, those were some of my matchups. I'm going to be going over the deck profile right now. So there's not much to explain in this deck. A lot of it's really standard. Just a few different side cards and a few different extra deck cards. So obviously 3 of each name. This is very mandatory. If you see like any of them plus like something to target, like most of the time it's just combo for you. Double Nian Nian, this is pretty standard as well. I do play Tutu. Tutu did come up for at least 2 or 3 of the games that I played today, and it was really good in all those situations. So I really would recommend playing Tutu, just because of the extra utility that it gives you. For the hand trap lineup, triple Ash, Gamma package. So Ash obviously very standard. It's like the best hand trap this format. Gamma was incredible today. Put in so much work. There were so many times where like I bricked. I just went like, oh, GG target Qinglong, add back Lulu end phase. They kill GG, and then like once a Drytron player tried to make Anaconda main phase too, I Gamma'd his Anaconda, and then I just won the next turn even though I bricked. So yeah, this Gamma package really incredible. For the spells, Kowloon, Qinglong, Desires, these are all like very standard 3-ofs. You definitely need 3 of each. For the 1-ofs, Upstart, Goods, and E-Telly. So E-Telly obviously is a really decent extender. It allows you to get a Nyan straight from your deck, or Tuner and Lulu. Upstart for the consistency, and Foolish Goods for consistency. A lot of people would play like Called by the Grave in this slot, but I wanted that extra little bit of consistency because it acts as a quote pseudo starter. It's not a great starter by any means because it's like your combo becomes really scuffed after that. But if you have to use Goods, like, you definitely don't mind, especially since like if you draw this with a bunch of names and your opponent like ashes a name, you just dump the Qinglong anyways, and then you can just discard the name that you use. So it is really good for that situation. I ended up siding like these 3 out a lot when I was going second, just because the extra 6 card gave me that little bit of extra consistency anyways. So yeah. For the trap lineup, 2 Chuche, 1 Shanwu. Thankfully, it didn't come up today where I needed a 3rd one because I banished 2 or something, but you definitely just keep recycling the other Chuche with the Chuche just so you get kind of a infinite loop of popping, and then like recycling resources is really good. Triple Imperm, this card is really good as well. Obviously, against Tri-Brigade, which is the most represented deck, is a really good card. Not much more to explain there. Clean 40 cards, you definitely need to play 40 to maximize consistency. For the extra deck, Shen, Vermilion, Croc. I ended up playing Croc. I was initially playing the Mud Dragon package. I tested it for a while, but I ended up going with Croc because I really like Croc since it lets you draw into your side cards, and like I side different Dimension Ground, and that's such a huge blowout against so many of the top decks. It's essentially like a turn skip for most of them. So I wanted to maximize my chances of drawing them. Plus with Croc, if you have a bunch of like dead cards in hand, you drew a bunch off of the Desires or something, you have like dead Gammas in your hand, it's just a free pop 1, especially with Shen on board. Essentially it becomes a free banish one during either player's turn, so it's also really good for that. For the 6s, Coral, Charge Warrior, Juju. Same thing with Coral, Charge Warrior. These cards allow you to draw into your side cards really well when going first. It also help you draw into like extenders as well. These cards are just honestly great. Juju, it came up once or twice. Its effect is really strong. There's not much more to say about that. That's it for the level 6s. And then I play Zulk and Crystal Wing. Even though I don't play the Mud Dragon package, this is still really powerful. Lets you play around hand trap. There's a combo with like Kirana level 3 that lets you do this before your 5th summon, and that's really good. Even though the ultimate Zulkin was kind of just like hanging out on the board afterwards, I do play Break Sword, which could have gotten rid of it and an opponent's card for free, so it didn't matter. That's it for the Synchros. For the XYZs, Zeus, obviously this card's incredible. Gaia Dragon, I played Gaia Dragon since I played 3 rank 6s. Utopia Beyond, this was to out Dragoon and to push out more damage onto the board. So like this deck kind of has a problem of like OTKing when your opponent has like even medium-sized monsters like the Solomon Great monsters. Just because like you don't have anything that like mass clears the board before you attack. So like you don't have anything like access code or anything. So Utopia Beyond was really good for that. I also like Beyond because it gave me an option for 4 material Zeus, because I can just Beyond, slap Gaia Dragon, make Zeus on top. That's 4 materials. So yeah, Utopia Beyond was really good. It came up a few times this weekend as well, especially since it's 3K. It's just 3K as well. This is a really big monster. M7, this card is really good. I didn't add back any hand traps this week, but this a few of my games I was able to like send the last name I didn't use yet and make this, add it back, and then I was able to keep playing from there. And M7 acts as a threat on the board for the next turn because it can threaten to get rid of an opponent's monster or add back more resources. And obviously Fan, this card is just incredible, just super nice removal. For the rank 3s, I play Breaksword, Gossip Shadow. So I'm just gonna explain Gossip Shadow first. Gossip Shadow I really like because essentially allows me to turn, like, let's say I have a random GG in my hand after I do my combo with, like, Shen and Crystal Wing, whatever. As long as I have a Nyan engraved, this GG just becomes essentially a free Gossip Shadow. Same thing with Shanwu, I can bring back GG, if I have Nyan engraved, summons it back. So essentially the idea with Gossip Shadow is, like, it's just an extra layer of interruption. It also is really good against protecting against hand traps, or going second when your opponent, like, lets you have 2 level 3s. You can just slap this on the board, it takes away one of their monster negates. But yeah, this card is just really good. I did make it many times. The only bad thing about it is like, I don't play Downward, so I can't put a Zeus on top and have it do anything. But it's fine, though. Breaksword, this was originally Fortune Tune, but I just, like, figured through testing, Fortune Tune just really wasn't that necessary. I like the utility that Break Sword gives you a lot more. But yeah, that was it, 15 cards. Like I said, no Mud Dragon. I just feel with that package, it's really win more. So like your hand has to be really good to make it, first of all, and it has to be even better for you to have like follow-up after making it. So like even if you can make it sometimes, you just had no follow-up, which was a huge problem, considering like the way I built this deck was for the follow-up, like to play a control-ish game and then have really strong follow-up just to kill our opponent next turn. For the side deck, Triple Phantasmic, I sided this in many times, didn't see it a single time this whole weekend, so there's not much I can really say about it. Nibiru, on the other hand, I saw quite a few times. Nibiru is a really powerful card, obviously, against a lot of the top decks, because essentially decks, like, a lot of the meta decks have to summon 5 times or more if they want to kill you, so you just do this, make sure you don't die. Even if you tribute Shenshin, Shenshin just comes back next turn, and then you have an extra 3k body to deal damage on the board. Triple Dark Ruler. This was for Drytrons and like any other heavy combo decks as well that I might face. Dark Ruler is just not much more to say about that. I've sided heavily for combo because that's what my deck loses to. You can see I only have 3 back row removals in Twin and Feather Duster. Honestly, the fact that this wasn't Twin actually kind of could have come up today when I was playing against Prank Kids, because with this, like, you can't do it in standby phase, so like they have a chance to chain their Pandemonium and some of their Battle Butler anyways. So honestly, I might replace this with a 3rd Twin. But yeah, you do need the back row removal against obviously back row decks and Prank Kids. And then finally, the MVP like of the weekend, Different Dimension Ground. Honestly, this card was just so good every single time I saw it. There's not a single time I was like, oh, this card is just so underwhelming. Like against Tri Brigade, I just skipped this entire turn. Against like Salamangreat, I literally forced him to use up all his resources to make an Appaloosa, and I just destroyed it with Chuche after. So, like, it's just really unfortunate for the people who had to eat this card this weekend. This card was actually the MVP of my deck. I even considered, like, siding Trap Trick just to get access to it, but, like, you can see that's why I played these draw cards in the extra deck, like the Charge Warrior, the Coral, and the Arcathes. Like, there were turns where I definitely just go out of my way just to make a draw synchro and then make a croc on top of that just to draw the extra 2 cards as a chance to draw it. And I can say many times I did draw into this card, and this card just honestly won me so many games. And I definitely would recommend you guys side this, because against like I said, against combo or anything like this can just completely shut down their turn. If you haven't checked it out already, I have put a video on my channel where I talk about this card more in depth, so you guys can check that out. But yeah, that's it for the deck. I'm gonna be doing some test hands slash like combo tutorials for this deck in another video, since this video is getting kind of long, so do stay tuned for that. I will be like kind of explaining how I play the deck, the style that I play, and like going more in depth than like a regular combo tutorial, so do stay tuned for that, like I said. But yeah, before we go off, one last thing. If you guys want to get these sick custom sleeves like I have right here, then be sure to check out Your Playmat. Your Playmat allows you to create your own fully customized card sleeves, playmats, tabletop mats, or even mouse pads with shipping worldwide. In addition, you can further enhance the designs of your sleeves or playmats with their premium editing services, or customize the border of your sleeves, making it all the more special. But if you can't come up with your own design, there are a myriad of professionally made sleeve and playmat designs for you to choose from. If all this sounds like something you'd be interested in, be sure to use my affiliate link in the description below, or use code SAM10YP, that's SAM10YP, at checkout for 10% your entire order while helping to support my channel. But anyways, back to the video now. Alright guys, so if you've made it this far in the video, I just want to thank you for sticking with me. Like I said, stay tuned for the combo tutorial slash video explanation of how I play this deck and like the type of style that I adopt when I'm playing it. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and with that, I will see you guys soon. Take care.